So, howdy, everybody. This is Chuck, and I'm here with Steve.
Steve.
Yeah, and we both got dressed up. I'm wearing the good Beastie Boys shirt. This is, if I ever get married, this is the shirt I'm going to wear. you know, and uh, and Steve
Yeah.
is wearing his beanie. That's a beanie, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but far be it from me to understand what the styles are. I don't really follow that stuff. And but thank you for hanging out tonight. And Steve, you and I were going to talk about the way of the world right now with this coronavirus thing. And tell me what you think about how you've had to adapt. Uh, how Ecuador is handling. Let's dive into a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I think first, I think we're all experiencing major changes, but I think first we should really talk about like what got us here, man. I think it's important to understand that, there are diseases and plagues and things like that, they occur naturally, but I feel like this is definitely, human beings as a civilization, as a people, as a species, as a creature, we have to kind of really look at ourselves and ask ourselves, how can these things be prevented, or can they be prevented? And you know how can the because for me, I'll be honest with you, man, what really concerns me are, and we can get into this, but the economic um, you know hit that the world economy is going to take. So there's so many different little things occurring, but how are things in Philadelphia right now?
Well, I mean, Philly, the Philadelphia area, it's interesting. I'm in New Jersey, but I'm right across the river from Philadelphia. Like, if I can literally be in Philadelphia, well, in the southern part of Philadelphia within like 15 minutes. And so I think one of the interesting things about the United States is how we have 50 different states, 50 different governments, where essentially like each governor is like the president of each state. And then we have a federal government. So, uh, it has its benefits and it has its times of um, you know, difficulty because like it's hard to really get everybody in line. Like you think about something as simple as a basketball game, right? If you got five guys on your team, you know how coordinated, how much practice you have to be in order to have everybody to follow the program and everything like that. So when you have 50 different heads going in 50 different ways, and then like the federal government is doing their thing, they got to look out for different. Each state has to look out for different issues, different rates of how the spread is happening. So obviously, like one of the reasons why people didn't want to have like a strict nationwide lockdown, like as in Ecuador, is because they felt okay, well, all right, so obviously, like New York has its issues, and Washington has its issues, and now, as we see, New Orleans is coming up with some problems too, and New Jersey. But people are like, well, what's the point in having a national lockdown if it's only issues if these are problems in these areas, and then like say West Virginia hasn't been impacted, So I mean, really, to affect is the other places, and then there are like other people that think that the federal government should not have that much power. And, I think, to go back to what you were saying, I think one of the things that really put us where we are is perhaps like this false sense of security that people have, and like it sucks because we all want to like go do our work, want to have good lives, want to take care of our kids, we want to watch a good game here and there, and we believe that we are the prime species in the universe, and we think that we're very strong, we're fast, we're smart, but something as small as a virus, a germ, can tear us apart, and it's something you don't plan for because we have so many things that we're guided towards thinking about that it's hard to really think and sit down and prepare for something of this magnitude, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, mean, I can say, uh, as going to your first comment about, the United States, the federal government and everything, I do think that perhaps the federal government, may have implemented a lockdown in places where it wasn't necessarily necessary yet. Um, but I think that eventually it will be necessary everywhere, at least for a time being. But this type of lockdown for me brings around a lot of existential questions, because it really, when you're not able to, a lot of people draw their identity from their job and what they do. And when they're not permitted to do that, when they're not able to do that, and they're locked up at home and they're with family members spending 24 hours a day with each other, um, you know, you start to question things, and you start to deconstruct things a bit, and you start asking yourself, like, questions about, why. And so for me, Chuck, it's been quite an emotional roller coaster. I would compare it to something like the loss of a family member or a loved one. I've experienced different stages of emotional, uh, you know, feelings. Well, I don't want to say emotional feelings, but just feelings and emotions throughout this time, and it's been somewhat like the stages of grief. The stage of acceptance and denial and anger and rejection. So I've experienced a lot of different emotions, but I don't know. How about you? How's this been for you? How do you feel about all of it?
Well, I mean, I gotta say that you know, it's a mix of emotions. It's like I love living. I love people, and yet like I also accept that death is a part of life and everything. And I don't have kids, but I do have people that I care about. And if when I sit back and think about this thing, it's like, okay, I guess like if I get it, it happens. And but I don't, in my heart though, like it just, and you probably feel the same way. You might have heard people say this. It feels like it's a dream. It doesn't feel like it's real. It's spooky to look
Yeah,
out at pictures of New York City and Chicago and see empty streets. Like I mean, like, I just like at night, like I was used to like being able to hear traffic go on an overpass a few blocks away, and now it's just like quiet, and you can see stars in the sky, no airplanes, and just it doesn't seem real. But in my heart, I've always, even though like it seems like death is a possibility with coronavirus now. I mean, death is always a possibility, but like in my heart, it seems like I have a strong feeling that we just have to weather the storm and it's going to pass. And then maybe something else will come later on. Maybe there'll be the second tide that they say there will be, and or maybe there'll be something stronger than it, whatever. But for now, I think we just got to follow the lockdown, and hopefully it'll pass. And I also like follow some conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And I know that people are talking crazy about like what this also means with like vaccines and things like that. But um, just at the heart of everything, man, I just want everybody to be all right. You guys down there in Ecuador, everybody in the world, and I want to be able to go to the beach this summer. I want to be able to watch a ball game again. You know, and yeah.
yeah,
Am I rambling too
definitely.
much?
No, 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 man, no, absolutely not, man. Yeah, it's just I had a moment of nostalgia as well. I was watching King of Queens, and I started thinking about the early 2000s and the mid 2000s and 90s, and I just started thinking about how chill and relaxed life had become, and
Yeah.
how are going to kind of social events or to a club and dancing or whatever. I feel like I kind of took it for granted, and maybe I didn't take advantage of a lot of moments should have. You know, for whatever reason, you know. But it's like I feel like people are live again. People are eager to work again. People are eager now. Obviously, we've got to respect, you know, the game plan. It's not about our program. You know, what I mean? Like our program is irrelevant right now. It's about the program of the medical experts. But you know, people are eager to get out there again and, you know, connect with one another. So you know, I think that the art has been disconnected. You know, I think we have one challenge that I have personally had is not overly depending on devices to keep myself busy throughout the day. So I have to give myself, like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have an hour without cell phones and iPads and nothing, you know, no
Yeah.
TV. It's good to also like have that moment of introspection, you know. So Chuck, let me ask you, how are you prepared for this? I mean, what is your projection of when this lockdown is going to end, and how are you prepared?
Well,
However much time we've got to, you know, through this.
luckily we have enough toilet paper to last, you know, a couple of months. So we're good, like right there. Um, and if worse comes to worse, you know, we'll go grab a couple of leaves outside and, you know, take care of business that way. But I think, you know, I think earlier you mentioned the economy, and I think that everything is so intertwined. It's the effect of globalization, and you know, one of the reasons why they say this has been such a wake-up call is that like people, you know, countries have become overly dependent on the production that they get from other countries, and so now I think a lot of places are starting to evaluate that, reevaluate it. I think what I'm concerned about is how well people that I'm working with online are going to be able to continue working with me online. Hopefully they'll be okay with their economic situation, and you know, and hopefully I'll be able to keep doing what we're doing, you know, and working on the Infinite website, and you know, cranking out Chuckadelphia videos, and hopefully that's not an issue, and hopefully people, you know, can keep getting work. And I don't know, man. I'll end up saying hopefully a lot, because it seems like so many different things need to happen now, you know, and I just hope that you know, something, we can have something at least somewhat normal in the future. But I'm worried that that's not going to be a possibility. You know, I think we'll be okay for a little while, and hopefully things will get back up. And here's the thing that, you know, people really aren't talking about is that, like, how are people going to psychologically respond to this? And like you yourself, like, you know, because okay, like my mom works in the airline industry, and people, you know, we think, okay, so if we just, if they remove the lockdowns tomorrow, they snap their fingers, are people ready to start traveling again? Are people ready to start trusting going into public sectors? You know, going to the movie theaters again, traveling on the Ecovia. Are people, because it's one thing to just remove that, but then like to have people, right? I think in some areas people are ready to just hang out and party. You know, there are people already doing that, but the general masses, I don't know if they're going to be ready to do that. So they'll be, I think people will be relieved in some areas, but then in other areas, like I don't think, I think it's going to take a while for things to recuperate.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, let me just say, you know, as you were speaking, I was thinking, you know, for you and me, it's I don't think it's going to be too bad, but you know, the people that are really going to be devastated, you know, are going to be the people that are already below the poverty line, and people that already, you know, I want to give a shout out to all of the Venezuelan people that are immigrants looking for freedom and prosperity and happiness wherever they may be. They're good people. Latin American individuals that are perhaps far from their homes. Haiti, I want to give a shout out to Haiti because, they still haven't recovered from the earthquake that they experienced. So, I think places have been devastated by, political, issues like Venezuela, or places that have been devastated by natural disasters and poverty like Haiti. Those are the places that are most at risk. And I think that, like I said, as a species, as beings, we've got to stop. I mean, I think it's good. And I think the United States, our Constitution was founded on the idea of the pursuit of happiness for individuals. But I think that perhaps humans, we've gotten a little bit too focused, hyper focused on our own personal pursuit of happiness, and we've lost focus on the collective happiness. And I don't want this to come off like, like I don't have any type of agenda or anything, but I do think that these places are going to be the hardest hit. And I think that we as people have to try to, build these places back up, man. I mean, imagine Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was devastated, and now it's being hit by the coronavirus. So, or COVID-19, So I don't know, man. It's for you and I think we're going to be okay. But, I'm really concerned about those, the people homeless people, the people that don't have shelter. Those are the people that I worry about a lot, So it's a tough situation.
But it also puts a lot of other things into perspective as well. You question a lot of things. Like one is like where the U.S. government gets its $2.2 trillion, just like that. Just like that. You know how hard it is for me to get $20 together? But it's like,
that's shocking.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, like, where are the trucks full of cash coming from? It's like, to me, it seems like it's surreal. It's like, they're just solving an issue by entering a couple of numbers into a computer and clicking enter or hitting enter. And if that's the case, why can't we all do that? Everywhere in the world. Why can't it be like that? But at the same time, it's another thing that's crazy about this is the fact that I forgot what I was going to say right now. It's related to. I mean, like, everybody's going to appreciate things more, right? But at the same time, it's like we're being misled into believing something, into appreciating something that's may not be real. That whole idea of money, why is it so easy for us to get that? $2.2 trillion like that, and yet, as you said, there's so many people struggling in the world, And by the way, it's not. I guess it's not going to be free. I guess like people in the future. I mean, following generations are going to be paying that back, or they're going to raise taxes or whatever. It's gonna, it's just a short-term solution. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you touched on that, because I mean, $2 trillion, if we think about that I think that's the first time that the word trillion has been used in major news like this. Like the first, we've had billions, we've entered billions, but like really just like $1 trillion stimulus package. Look, I mean, I understand that the economy is going to take a hit, small businesses are going to take a hit, individuals are going to take a hit, single parents are going to take a hit, but I have the same questions. I say, where is this money coming from? What's the plan to pay it back? And is this going to be part of our national debt? Is this tacked on national questions? And that brings me around to Ecuador. I mean, and to Ecuador, the Ecuadorian people, and the economic future of this country as well.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And you know what? Dare I say it, man? I saw a post the other day of one of the guys in the ESL Teachers in Keto group, and it was on his personal page, but he talked about, I mean, he's got a PhD, and he was kind of like implying, hey, I guess, like, Steve, are you there?